Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the eighth lecture of the series Introduction to Toy Design. My name is Dr. Supradip Das. I am an assistant professor at the Department of Design at IIT Guwahati. In this lecture, we will discuss women who have significantly shaped the toy industry. At the end of this lecture, you will be able to identify key women innovators, designers, and entrepreneurs who significantly influenced the toy industry across different historical periods. Analyze how women's perspectives shaped toy design, play patterns, storytelling, and representations of gender, childhood, and society. Evaluate the social, cultural, and economic impact of women-led innovations in toys, brands, and play systems. Now let's look at some of the famous women who shaped the toy industry. Maria Montessori. She transformed education 150 years ago by recognizing children's natural drive to learn independently. Defying her father, she became one of Italy's first female doctors, enduring exclusion such as being barred from lectures until male students were seated. Despite this resistance, she persisted and went on to become one of the most influential educators of the 20th century. She shaped the toy industry by redefining toys as tools for learning, independence, and sensory development rather than mere entertainment. She introduced the idea that children have an innate drive to learn through hands-on exploration. Based on this philosophy, Montessori developed didactic materials such as sensory blocks, bead chains, cylinders, and puzzles designed with simple forms, natural materials, and clear functions. These objects encouraged children to learn by doing, self-correct, and engage independently. Maria's influences on the toy industry includes transforming educational toys. Toys became purposeful learning materials that support cognitive, motor, and sensory development. Promoting minimal, open-ended design, emphasis on simplicity, order, and clarity influenced wooden toys and minimalist aesthetics. Encouraging self-directed play. Montessori toys are designed so children can use them without adult instruction, fostering autonomy. Shaping modern learning toys. Her principles underpin today's educational toy brands, early learning kits, and preschool stools. Influencing sustainable toy design. The preference for natural materials like wooden align with contemporary eco-conscious toy practices. Maria Montessori's legacy lies in shifting the toy industry towards intentional, development-centered design where toys support curiosity, independence, and lifelong learning, an approach that continues to influence toy designers, educators, and manufacturers worldwide. Ray Eames. Her contributions were long overshadowed by those of her husband, Charles Eames, as women in the 1950s design industry were still far from equal. Businessmen preferred to speak with Charles, even though the two shared their design work equally. And when they appeared on the popular US program, The Home Show, Ray was introduced merely as a supportive wife rather than an equal creative partner. However, Ray Eames shaped the toy industry by bringing modern design thinking, artistic experimentation, and playfulness into children's toys, redefining toy as objects of creativity, learning, and cultural value. As part of the Eames office, Ray Eames contributed significantly to the design of toys that emphasized imagination, abstraction, and open-ended play, rather than fixed narrative or rules. Her background in art and graphic design strongly influenced the visual language of these toys. Ray Eames brought a new sensibility to the toy industry by blending art with play. Through iconic designs like the Eames House of Cards and the Eames Elephant, she introduced children to modern art, patterns, and form, making design something to the touched, explored, and enjoyed through play. Her toys strongly promoted open-ended creativity rather than dictating rules or fixed outcomes. Eames' designs invited children to build, arrange, and imagine freely. Play became a purpose of exploration, experimentation, and personal expression. Ray Eames also played a key role in introducing modernist aesthetics into children's product. Clean lines, bold colors, and abstract patterns, hallmarks of mid-century modern design, were translated into toys, shaping children's visual literacy from an early age. Through her work, Ray Eames showed that toys can be intelligent, beautiful, and imaginative, nurturing creativity while quietly teaching design principles through play. Beyond individual products, Ray's philosophy deeply influenced educational and design-led toys, inspiring future designers to view play as a serious tool for learning, creativity, and cognitive development. Despite often being overshadowed during her lifetime, Ray Eames helped reshape the toy industry by providing that toys can be intellectually stimulating, aesthetically sophisticated, and culturally meaningful. Principles that continue to influence contemporary toy and play design today. Ruth Handler. Born in 1916 in Denver, Colorado, to Polish immigrant parents, Ruth grew up in a working-class family where resourcefulness and independence were essential. She married Elliot Handler, an industrial designer, and together with Harold Matson, they co-founded Mattel in 1945, initially making picture frames and dollhouse furniture from leftover materials. Ruth's breakthrough insight came from observing her daughter, Barbara, play with paper dolls. She noticed that Barbara preferred imagining herself as an adult rather than a baby, which was a radical observation at that time. When dolls were almost exclusively infant-like, Ruth envisioned a three-dimensional adult female doll that would allow girls to imagine future identities and roles. Ruth Handler co-founded Mattel and created Barbie in 1959, shaped the toy industry by revolutionizing the doll market, transforming toy marketing and redefining how children, especially girls, engaged with imaginative play. Her most influential contribution was the creation of Barbie, introduced in 1959 through Mattel. At a time when baby dolls dominated the market, Handler envisioned a fashion doll with an adult body, allowing girls to imagine future identities rather than caretaking roles. This single idea fundamentally changed doll design and children's play patterns. Ruth Handler impacted on the toy industry by 1. Introducing the first adult-looking fashion doll. Before Barbie, most dolls were baby dolls meant for nurturing play. Handler noticed her daughter preferred giving adult roles to paper dolls, inspiring her to create a doll that allowed children, especially girls, to imagine themselves as grown-ups with careers, styles, and independence. This shifted the entire toy market towards aspirational play. Second, by pioneering a new kind of storytelling brand. Barbie was not just a doll, but a character with an evolving identity. Barbie had careers, friends, a car, a home, and a narrative universe. This branding strategy, where a toy comes with a lifestyle and world of accessories, became a model many companies still follow. Third, by transforming toy marketing, Handler pioneered television's advertising aimed directly at children, reshaping how toys were promoted and sold worldwide. Also, Handler impacted toy industry by building a lifestyle toy ecosystem where Barbie introduced a vast range of outfits, accessories, homes, vehicles, and carriers, creating an early and highly successful toy system. By empowering representation of girl doll, as over time, Barbie evolved to include diverse careers, appearances, and identities, reflecting social change and broadening inclusivity in toys. And most importantly, by establishing Mattel as a global leader. Under Handler's leadership, Mattel became one of the most influential toy companies in history. Ruth Handler's legacy lies in proving that toys could shape aspirations, culture, and identity. Her innovations continue to influence by design, branding, and marketing strategies across the global toy industry. Eleanor Abbott was an American inventor and educator whose ideas quietly reshaped educational and family-oriented play. Born in the early 20th century, Abbott was trained as a school teacher, and it was this background in education that strongly influenced her approach to toy and game design. Abbott designed Candyland in 1948 while recovering from polio. Eleanor Abbott was an American inventor and educator. Candyland was created to comfort children in hospital wards and became one of the most beloved early childhood board games in the world. Eleanor Abbott designed a game not just for fun, but for comfort and healing. While recovering from polio in a San Diego hospital during the 1940s, she noticed that many children suffering from the disease were frightened, isolated, and bored. In response, Abbott created Candyland, a game designed specifically to bring joy, distraction, and hope to children during recovery. Candyland shows the world that games could be therapeutic, not merely entertaining. Through colorful paths and gentle progression, the game offered emotional relief at a time when children needed it most. Abbott also introduced a child-centered and inclusive approach to game design. Candyland required no reading skills, no math, and no complex rules, making it accessible to very young children and to those with physical or cognitive limitations. This simplicity was revolutionary. Her work shifted the toy industry understanding of successful children's games, proving that bright visuals, emotional reassurance, and inclusivity could be just as important as challenge or competition. Through Candyland, Eleanor Abbott demonstrated that play can heal, include, and comfort, leaving a lasting impact on how games are designed for children. Eleanor Abbott pioneered the idea of games as tools for emotional support. With Candyland, she created a play experience that helped children cope with illness, hospitalization, and isolation. Its success proved that games could support children not only emotionally but psychologically, a principle that now lies at the heart of educational and therapeutic game design. Abbott also a powerful standard for classic longevity-driven game design. Candyland became one of the best-selling children board game in history and has remained in production for over 7 decades. Her work showed that a game built on imagination, color, and ease of play could transcend trends and be passed from one generation to the next. Beyond design, Eleanor Abbott strengthened the connection between the toy industry and social responsibility. She donated her royalties to organizations supporting children recovering from polio, demonstrating how toys and games could extend their impact beyond play into real-world care and philanthropy. Through her work, Abbott proved that play can heal, endure, and give back, reshaping how the toy industry understands purpose, compassion, and lasting value. Minka Podhaiska was a pioneering toy designer whose work bridged modernist design philosophy and children's play. Trained in the spirit of early 20th century modernism, she was deeply influenced by Bauhaus, ideas that emphasized clarity of form, functionality, and the belief that good design should shape everyday life, including how children play. Rather than creating toys with fixed stories or decorative details, Podhaiska translated principles such as abstraction, geometry, simplicity, and structure into play objects. Her toys were composed of clean lines, modular parts, and carefully balanced forms, allowing children to build, rearrange, and interpret them endlessly. Color in her work was bold yet restrained, used not for excess decoration but to highlight form, rhythm, and contrast. This approach encouraged children to engage visually and spatially, developing skills in problem solving, coordination, and imagination. Minka Podhaiska believed that toys should not dictate how a child play. Instead, her designs promoted open-ended play where meaning emerges through interaction. In doing so, she challenged the notion of toys as passive entertainment and positioned them as tools for creative thinking and learning. Her contribution lies in proving that modernist design was not only for architecture or furniture, but could be meaningfully adapted for children. Through her work, Podhaiska helped shape a generation of design-led educational toys, influencing how designs today think about form, function, and freedom in play. Minka Budhaiska's toy culture influenced by elevating toys to the level of art. Unlike many of her contemporaries, she did not view toys as simple children's plaything. Drawing from her background in painting, sculpture, and applied arts, Podhaiska designed toys that were visually expressive, carefully crafted, and rich in artistic intent. Her work carried strong aesthetic values and deep connections to European design traditions, changing how society perceived the cultural value of toys. She also championed handcrafted, diversified materials and techniques. While wood, often curved or turned, was central to her practice, Budhaiska experimented with textiles, jute, fabric, scraps, wire, paper, and mixed materials. She created textiles, puppets, movable wooden figures, paper toys, and even modular building sets, such as miniature furniture, shops, classroom and culture, and circus kits. This diversity expanded the definition of what a toy could be, moving beyond standardized, mass produced objects toward artists' tactile and multi-material play forms. Importantly, Pudhaiska bridged folk and traditional craft with modern design sensibility. Her toys drew inspiration from regional folk toy making traditions while also reflecting the modernist aesthetics of early 20th century applied arts in Vienna and Central Europe. By combining these worlds, she helped reposition toy making as a legitimate branch of the applied arts rather than as crude craft or mere children's entertainment. Minka Pudhaiska's influence extended far beyond the toys she created. She helped institutionalize toy making as a serious educational and professional discipline. At a time when toys were often dismissed as informal craft or domestic production, Budhaiska positioned toy design with structured learning and professional practice. As a professor and instructor at a national institute, she trained generations of craft people and toy makers. Through formal education and widespread folk craft toy making courses conducted across her country, she treated toy making as a field that demanded skill, design thinking, and cultural responsibility. Her teaching emphasized discipline, material understanding, and creative intent, shaping toy makers who saw their work as both socially meaningful and professionally viable. Beyond the classroom, Budhaiska actively helped build a professional infrastructure for toy production. She collaborated with workshops and cooperatives such as Zakhorise Toy Cooperative and earlier Vinnie's Craft Workshops, bridging education with real world making. These collaborations connected designers, artisans, and production systems, ensuring that toy design could exist as a sustainable profession rather than isolated craftsmanship. Her influence also reached far beyond her region, placing her firmly within the early 20th century European toy design movement. Budhaiska worked with major craft and design institutions of her time, including the renowned Wiener Werkstätte, and exhibited her toys across Europe. In this context, her work stood as an early example of modernist toy design, aligned children's play objects with broader development in art, design, and modern craft. Through education, collaboration, and international exposure, Minka Pudhaiska helped redefine toy making as a long-time design practice, one connected to modernism, pedagogy, and professional production. Her legacy lies not only in the toys she made, but in the system she helped build to ensure that toy design could endure, evolve, and be taken seriously. As a women artist and designer active in the male dominated art world at the beginning of the 20th century, she is a symbolic figure for women's creative agency and for how craft design and pedagogy can merge. Her approach anticipated many trends in contemporary designer toys, wooden toys, artisanal toys, and sustainable handmade toy movements that resist mass industrial plastic toy production. Betty M. James was an American businesswoman whose vision and determination helped turn a simple invention into one of the world's most iconic toys. While her husband, Richard T. James, invented the Slinky, it was Betty who named it, marketed it, and ensured its lasting success. The name Slinky, meaning slick and graceful, was coined by Betty, perfectly capturing the toy's smooth, flowing motion. From the very beginning, she recognized its playful charm and commercial potential. In 1960, when Richard James left both the company and the family, Betty took full control of James Industries, becoming its sole leader at a time when few women ran manufacturing business. Under her leadership, she stabilized the company, expanded production, and kept the Slinky affordable and accessible to families across America. Betty M. James played a decisive role in shaping the toy industry by saving, sustaining, and transforming the Slinky into a timeless toy. When her husband, Richard James, left the company and the family, James Industries was left deeply in debt and on the verge of collapse. At a time when women rarely led manufacturing business, Betty stepped in and took full control. She rebuilt operations, paid off debts, and stabilized production. Without her leadership, the Slinky would likely have disappeared from the toy market entirely. Beyond survival and pricing, Betty turned the Slinky into a cultural phenomenon. She built one of the most successful marketing strategies in toy history, introducing the iconic Slinky jingle, promoting the toy relentlessly at fairs and exhibitions, and ensuring its presence in households across America. Her hands-on approach transformed a simple wire spring into a national bestseller and symbol of playful wonder. Through resilience, business insight, and belief in the power of simple play, Betty M. James demonstrated that influence in the toy industry is not only about invention, but about vision, accessibility, and leadership. The Slinky brand expanded creatively while staying true to its original simplicity. She grew the product line to include Slinky Dog, Slinky Train, and range of accessories and variations, ensuring the brand remained fresh, playful, and relevant for new generations of children. Betty James was also a pioneering woman CEO in the toy industry at a time when leadership roles were overwhelmingly held by men. She ran a major toy manufacturing company for decades. Her success proved that women could not only lead but also innovate, strategize, and transform the business of play. Most importantly, she preserved an American design classic. Through her careful stewardship, the Slinky became a long-lasting bestseller, a pop culture icon, and a toy honored by the National Toy Hall of Fame. Betty ensured that the Slinky remained timeless, simple in form, joyful in function, and meaningful across generations. Her legacy reminds us that enduring toys are shaped not just by inventions, but by visionary leadership, adaptability, and belief in the power of play. Renate Müller, German toy designer and craftswoman, best known for her handmade therapeutic soft toys that focus on sensory experience, inclusivity, and child development. After the death of her parents, Müller inherited their toy factory. Rather than continuing mass produced designs, she chose a deeply human centered path. She began creating her signature plucked animals, soft, tactile animal forms designed to be squeezed, pulled, and explored by small hands. These toys were immediately well received for their warmth, simplicity, and sensory richness. The charm and effectiveness of Müller's toys quickly spread beyond homes into kindergartens and therapeutic settings. Their value in supporting emotional comfort, motor skills, and inclusive play made them popular across Europe and later in the USA and Japan. In 1976, her work received major recognition when her toys were awarded, affirming their importance in both design and education. Renate Müller shaped the toy industry by redefining what toys could do and mean. Her work demonstrated that toys are not just for entertainment but can serve as tools for care, therapy, and inclusive development, placing empathy, craftsmanship, and sensory understanding at the heart of toy design. Renate Müller, a pioneer of therapeutic toys, known in German as Heilspielzeug, in the 1960s in East Germany, she developed handmade jute and leather animal toys specifically for use in hospitals, kindergartens, and special needs schools. These toys supported motor skill development, sensory integration, balance, and coordination, and emotional comfort, making her one of the first designers to treat toys as medical and developmental tools, not just entertainment. She also introduced a new material language to toy design. Using natural materials such as jute, leather, and wood shaving, Müller created toys with warm, tactile surfaces and simple modernist forms. At a time when plastic toys were becoming dominant, she insisted on natural textures and calming aesthetics, setting a lasting standard for handcrafted, material-conscious toy design. Müller placed strong emphasis on durability and ethical production. Each of her toys was handmade, extremely sturdy, and designed to last for generations. By valuing craftsmanship over mass production, she helped revive interest in slow-made, sustainable toys, a philosophy that continues to influence today's wooden and natural material toy movements. She also seamlessly blended design with pedagogy, working closely with physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and educators. Müller ensured that her toys supported children's physical and cognitive development. Through this research-driven, collaborative approach, she demonstrated that toy design could be educational, therapeutic, and deeply purposeful, not just commercially driven. Renate Muller became a global design icon when her therapeutic toys were rediscovered in 1990s and 2000s. Her work gained recognition in museums, design exhibitions, and collectors' markets, placing children's toys firmly within the worlds of modern design. This recognition proved that toys can exist simultaneously as art, craft, and functional objects. She also paved the way for inclusive and supportive play. Decades before inclusive design became mainstream, Muller created toys that addressed the needs of children with diabetes. Her approach has made a lasting influence on special needs toys, sensory tools, therapeutic equipment, and early childhood educational environments, shaping how play can support every child. Barbara Scheidler is a German toy designer and entrepreneur whose life's work is rooted in crafts, education, and responsible play. She is best known as the creative force behind Xena Spiezza, a company that continues the rich toy-making traditions of the Erzgebirge region in Germany. Under Barbara Scheidler's leadership, Xena produces handmade wooden toys, including building blocks, early learning toys, and Froebel-inspired educational set. Drawing from the pedagogical ideas of Frederick Froebel, her toys are designed to support learning through exploration, construction, and imagination. Scheidler's approach places deep emphasis on material honesty and craftsmanship. Xena toys are made from natural materials produced through careful handcraft rather than industrial mass production. Each toy reflects durability, simplicity, and respect for both the child and the maker. For Barbara Scheidler, toys are not disposable products, but tools for development. Her designs prioritize educational and pedagogical value over trends, ensuring that play supports cognitive growth, motor skills, and creativity. Through her commitment to traditional craftsmanship and child-centered design, Barbara Scheidler has helped preserve a heritage of ethical toy making, proving that toys can be sustainable, educational, and timeless while remaining deeply connected to culture and care. Barbara Scheidler shaped the toy industry by proving that quality, sustainability, and education can be commercially viable. At a time when mass-produced plastic toys dominated the market, she demonstrated that carefully made wooden toys rooted in craft and pedagogy could still succeed economically. Through her leadership at Xena Spiezza, Scheidler played a crucial role in the revival and preservation of traditional wooden toy craftsmanship, particularly the Erzgebirge toy-making tradition. By sustaining handcraft practices, she ensured that cultural knowledge and skilled making were passed on to the future generations. Her work also influenced the resurgence of design-oriented, sustainable, and pedagogical tool. Scheidler's commitment to natural materials, thoughtful form, and educational purpose helped raise awareness of toys as tools for learning rather than disposable commodities. By prioritizing developmental value, she raised the standard for educational and early learning toys, reinforcing the idea that toys should support cognitive, motor, and imaginative growth. Barbara Scheidler's journey stands as an example of leadership and resilience. As a woman entrepreneur in a niche manufacturing sector, she showed that vision, ethics, and persistence can shape both industry practices and cultural values, leaving a lasting impact on contemporary toy design. Emma Briggs was the significant figure in the early 20th century European toy design, closely associated with the rich Czech toy making tradition. Working during the time when toys were largely handcrafted, her designs reflected a deep understanding of childhood play, material honesty, and craft based productions. Emma Briggs's work, influenced by Bauhaus and Central European design movements, as well as folk and modernist elements, emphasized simple forms, functional designs, and durability. Her toys were not decorative objects alone, but purposeful playthings designed to support imagination and everyday role play. Wooden natural finishes and careful handcrafted were central to her approach. Within the Czech toy tradition, known for its strong woodworking culture, Briggs contributed to shaping toys that balanced aesthetic clarity and pedagogical value. Her work aligned with early ideas of toys as tool for learning, creativity, and physical engagement. Emma Briggs represents an important generation of designers who helped establish toys as culturally rooted, thoughtfully designed objects, influencing the evolution of European toy design before the rise of mass plastic production. Emma Briggs helped shape the toy industry by advancing the idea of toys as educational tools. Her design supported motor skill development, spatial understanding, and imagination-driven play, moving away from overly ornamental Victorian toys towards simple, purposeful forms that encouraged building and experimentation. She played an important role in establishing the Czech modernist toy aesthetic, emphasizing clean geometric forms, high quality craftsmanship, and natural materials, especially wood. Bluff Blocks is a clever balance and building toy designed by industrial designer Emma Briggs that turns simple wooden blocks into a surprise experiment in gravity and equilibrium. Unlike ordinary building blocks, each bluff block has movable steel weight inside, allowing its center of gravity to shift as you gently pivot the piece. This lets seemingly impossible structure stand or balance in unexpected ways, inviting players to explore physics, perception, and dexterity through play. The blocks are made from oiled maple wood with precise internal milling and smooth finishing, giving them a naturally tactile quality that emphasizes both play and learning. A booklet with suggested figures helps newcomers start building, while the open-ended possibilities encourage creativity and experimentation. Ante Stumpe and Martina Musek co-founded Musekind in Leipzig, Germany, in 2018 with a clear intention to rethink that children's toys could be in an age of environmental urgency and overconsumption. Under Musekind, they developed Papka, a line of foldable cardboard play world that replaced plastic with a humble, sustainable material. Houses, cities, and imaginative landscapes emerge not as fixed toys but as open frameworks for play. Their philosophy challenges the conventional toy industry. Instead of mass-produced objects designed for quick consumption, Papka toys are eco-friendly, made from recyclable cardboard, space-saving, easy to fold, store and reuse, creativity-driven, inviting children to draw, modify, build, and invent. Stumpe and Musek place imagination at the center of play. The child is not a passive consumer but a co-designer shaping the toy through storytelling, drawing, and transformation. Through Musekind, they demonstrated that contemporary toy design can be sustainable, intelligent, and playful at the same time, offering model for future toys that respect both the child and the planet. Ante Stumpe and Martina Musek reshaped contemporary toy design by questioning the material's value and pace of modern play. Through Musekind and their cardboard play system, Papka, they challenged the plastic-dominated toy industry by proving that sustainable, plastic-free, and renewable materials can be both desirable and commercially viable. They redefined play as open-ended and child-driven, offering children not a finished product but a starting point, spaces that could become houses, castles, or spaceships through imagination and personal expression. These shifted the role of the child from consumer to co-creator, responding to urban realities. Their foldable design addressed space, clutter, and portability, showing that toys can adapt to contemporary lifestyles without sacrificing play value. At the same time, their small women-led venture demonstrated the power of design-led independent toy making, inspiring other makers to prioritize sustainability, craft, and intention over mass production. By combining strong visual design with pedagogical thinking, Stumpe and Musek elevated toy aesthetics while remaining deeply child-centered. In a digital-heavy era, their work advocates for slow, tactile, imaginative play, positioning toys as a tool for creativity, reflection, and meaningful engagement, reshaping how the toy industry rethinks about play in the 21st century. In an industry dominated by mass production and global corporations, Ante Stumpe and Martina Musek brought intentional design-led toy making back to small-scale entrepreneurship. Through Musekind, they showed that meaningful toys can emerge from grassroots creativity, proving that thoughtfully designed, sustainable products still have place in the market, especially for independent and women-led venture. By combining Stumpe's visual and communication design expertise with Musek's background in play and learning, they elevated toy aesthetics without losing child-centered values. Papka is not only functional, but also beautifully branded and carefully packaged, challenging the idea that eco-friendly or educational toys must look dull or simplistic. Their work demonstrates that ethics, aesthetics, and play value can coexist. In a screen-saturated world, Musekind also championed slower, more reflective play. Their cardboard playhouses invite hands-on making, imagination, and unhurried creativity, offering powerful alternative to digital and electronic toys and reminding us that meaningful play often begins with simplicity. As we look back at how women have shaped the world of toy industry, a quiet but radical shift becomes visible. Toys stop being objects of destruction and start becoming tools of care, learning, resistance, and imagination. These women did not simply design toys. They designed values into play, empathy, sustainability, inclusivity, and curiosity. So as we move forward to the next lecture, let us pause and reflect on what we had learned in the lecture. See you in the next lecture. Till then, enjoy a moment of joy and play.